Hi, Jill here, and today I wanted to show you the basics of the brushless watercolor technique that I did on these cards. I'm going to just show you the basic technique and give you a few tips, pointers, things that help me out with this. So, first off, here's the cards. This is a version of it in blues. I'm going to show you how I did this flower. This is a square version, and then this is just an A2 version. And like I said, all of these cards were done with the brushless watercolor technique. This is a technique that I learned at Ranger U from Tim Holtz. It's one of my favorites, and I don't use it often enough, and there's quite a few ways that you can approach it, but we're going to use ink pads and actually a Crayola marker. You could use either of these actually, because both will move with watercolor. Okay, so just a little tip pointer here. With some of these longer stamps, which there are quite a few of on the new Asian Posh sets, and then of course this one, I really love the longer stamps, but my stamp block isn't quite long enough. So actually I just use an acrylic ruler as a mount. Really just find anything around your stamp room that works for you. And this one is actually just the background here. I stamped it repeatedly with Currant. I love the way it made that background look. And the technique I'm teaching you, I used in the foreground as well as the background. In the background I used a little more water, got a little more splotchy with it. And I want to show you the water that I use. I've had a few questions about it. I use pearlized water. And I use this for one of my other techniques where I showed you how I put it in my water brush. Same formula. I use this little spoon, and I think I actually got this from US Art Quest. And I use Perfect Pearl colored Perfect Pearls and a mini mister. I like my water quite pearlized, so I put almost 2 scoops in there. And I find that this little guy works great. Be sure to put your lid on your Perfect Pearls or else they could go everywhere. Then I use a little eyedropper bottle. And I got this from Science and Surplus. I don't even know if they're still around. But I just like, again, the control. I just squirt a little bit in here. And I put it into about 3/4 full. Now, also, this is how I do the faux glimmer mist that I showed. I put a few drops of the Distress inks in, and I have a whole set of those colors. So there we go. There's my pearlized water. It's a little chunky looking at this point, but the more the water soaks in, the better it comes out. Okay. Let me get everything set aside here. And we're going to be using from Asian Set 1, which, like I mentioned, is a Posh stamp set. It is now available through iBreak for Stamps, and I'll have the link below, as well as a coupon code you can use to get 10% off your order. And you can see I've loved this stamp. I'm using my Adirondack ink pads. They're dye-based. Just keep in mind that sometimes these will change in color a little bit, and I actually like that. And these are quite old. They don't look like this anymore. And this one actually was before it was named. It's Stonewash now. But you can almost see there's a touch of purple to this one, and that definitely comes out in the image. Okay, so with brushless, again, it's just like it sounds. You're not using a brush, but you're getting a watercolor look. So you're going to take your lighter color and just smush it down onto your stamp. You don't have to be real exact. Then take your darker color and squish it in a few spots. And it's hard to see, but I'm not putting full pressure of the entire ink pad. And sometimes I'm leaving little lines and whatnot on there. I like the way it comes out. Like, look at this leaf. Look how the lines came out. That's actually just the darker, the greens, which is bottle. That's Meadow. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Not sure if I mentioned what color. I need to re-ink a few of these. And then here's bottle. And again, I really like the lines that I got from this. Now, like I said, you can also use your Crayola. You can use Tombows. You can use Morphe brush art markers. I just find this technique easier. But where the Crayola does come in handy is actually the little lines. So let's say this was blue. You want it green. Just put that in there. Okay, now you're going to take your pearlized water. Let's make my ink pads. Okay, so it's a nice fine spray mist. And you can't see this on camera, but you don't want to be right up next to it. And you want to spray a little bit away, okay? So I did 4 shots of water there. And let's gonna pull that in a little. Okay, so you're just gonna stamp it. And no matter how hard you try with this technique, you never get the same thing. So look at how pretty that is. Now, you could do what I did, and I'm not going to do it on this video. But with this one, I actually sprayed some more water on it and made it splash out. And then I did one last one like this, just to define it. And I put that on with foam tape and added a few rhinestones to it. So this one is mounted on oval nut stability, so you'd want to dry it and put it on, and you have a beautiful card with that. So it's a great way to use your bold stamps to get a lot of definition from them, especially posh stamps. Another thing I really like with this is my poor beat up old posh Splatter It Up stamp. Now on this card, I actually took re-inker and a brush and I splattered it. And then this one I took the Splatter It Up stamp. It takes out all the mess. You can see the different size splatters. And it just takes away the mess pretty much. And this one I didn't use a lot except for on the happy birthday, which I just stamped it on watercolor paper, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that. This is Canson 90 pound Aquarelle, and I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, watercolor paper. It's a cold press paper, so it has some texture to it. I like the texture. And I used a small scrap of it, stamped it in the silver, and then I went over it with my Splatter It Up stamp a whole bunch of times, and that's especially where that purple came out, and that's why I went with purple rhinestones to accent that. So you can have a lot of fun with this technique and a lot of fun with these stamps. So be sure to give it a try. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.